Right, here we go. I am livid about this one. Sorry for a clickbaity sounding title, but this is really next level lying and being outright caught in it. So this is not just Liz Truss, this is also Michael Gove. So essentially, they have been saying that they will not import under any circumstances chlorinated chicken, hormone treated beef, while at the same time in cabinet meetings planning exactly that. And now it's all out there thanks to a Mail on Sunday piece tomorrow, which accidentally mentions it. So here we go. We have footage from 2 years ago, Michael Gove, when he was then Secretary of State for the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, so DEFRA, where he was Secretary of State for that from 2017 to 2019. We've got the video of him saying, and I've got this written down, there's no point in having high environmental and high animal welfare standards if you then allow them to be undercut from outside, he went on. And ultimately, if you have high standards here and you allow food from elsewhere, you're not really contributing to high welfare and environmental standards. You're simply offshoring those low standards. And that's wrong. And he emphasized the wrong. You should see that video. It was so sanctimonious. So then he was asked directly. So that's a red line that you and the government are drawing in their trade negotiations. No dilutions on imports. They must be to our standards. Absolutely, he says. Right. So then we have on earlier this week, the Telegraph coming out with a piece saying entitled Britain to allow import of chlorinated chicken from the US. Britain is ready to allow import of chlorinated chicken from the US, where it reveals that the new idea is that the latest government proposal for a trade deal with the US is a dual tariff regime that imposes different levels of duty depending on whether they comply with UK animal welfare standards. So depending on whether. So if they do comply, then they get let in under one tariff schedule. But if they don't comply with our high standards, they get let in anyway, but just at a greater cost. So completely different from what Michael Gove was saying, where we say we don't sponsor low standards elsewhere. We don't give that sucker. We don't allow that in. If they don't comply with our standards, no go. Now they've got a system whereby they can actually allow that to come in and they just put up slightly higher tariffs, which of course they can loosen later, can't they? When you're all tricked, when you're all suckered in. Now, because this kicked off everywhere and everyone picked up on it and it got shared around everywhere, and the National Farmers Union have been kicking off about this, then yesterday on 5th of June, Liz Truss puts out on her Twitter feed a statement from her as the Secretary of State for the Department of International Trade and George Eustice, who's now the Secretary of State for DEFRA. And it says, and it's addressed to MPs, dear colleagues, we understand that you have been contacted by your constituents about these issues. The UK government will not compromise on our standards. Our manifesto is clear that in trade negotiations, we will not compromise on our high environmental protection, animal welfare, and food standards. It then goes on in that letter just out yesterday to say those import standards include a ban on hormone injected beef, so artificial growth hormone, and we only allow water to decontaminate poultry carcasses. Right, so then, okay, then what was the Telegraph saying? What was did the Telegraph get it completely wrong? Sounds unlikely, seeing as there's this elaborate dual tariff system, which they then, is clearly released to the Telegraph to fly to the public to see if it does fly, right? But then here's the kicker. Mail on Sunday, they've just put up a piece, early, or Harry Cole from it has put up a clip early. It's coming out tomorrow, all about divisions between Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak, with regard to China. Do we try and stay close, or do we build up, an alliance to sort of take on China with regard to science and technology? And who do we pair up with in order to shore up Western interests against China? It's like, you idiots. We just left the EU, which is actually the world's largest science production engine. But anyway, let's put that fuckwittery aside. And it says in this article, in the Mail on Sunday tomorrow, as it's discussing this, there was a cabinet meeting on Monday in which Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss wanted to allow controversial food products such as chlorinated chicken and hormone-treated beef to enter the UK without higher tariffs. Whereas good old Boris Johnson, with George Eustice and Michael Gove, wanted chlorinated chicken and hormone-treated beef to come in, but under higher tariffs so that we can protect our producers for now. So one, Gove, the slimy slug, has just completely gone back on what he was saying 2 years ago, and now is thinking about how we can sneak it in under higher tariffs, no doubt, which they will lower later, right, in order to scratch the back of their US corporation friends who are perpetrating all of this animal cruelty on those animals that he said so piously would be so inconceivable that we would do such a thing. But now he's thinking of routes to let them in. Slimy Gove. And Liz Truss was just putting out a barefaced lie yesterday, saying that we would never go against our manifesto commitments in terms of higher welfare, animal welfare and environmental standards, when she was actually on Monday busy breaking those promises and trying to break those promises. And so, should we trust her now? Given that they made these declarations in their manifesto, given that we've had pious and trustworthy Michael Gove saying 2 years ago, absolutely, about it being a red line, and then they were all sitting in that cabinet meeting on Monday thinking about how can we sneak this in while pretending to protect our farmers, right? And then when that gets flown to the public through the Telegraph, I wonder if we can get away with this while coronavirus is going on, and everyone pans it and the NFU goes up in arms and everyone's writing to their MPs, then they go like, oh no, we would never do that. Don't know what the Telegraph was talking about. No, not at all. You can trust us. In fact, this government actually came into power in 2010 also on a lie. They said at that time, repeatedly, there would be no top-down reorganization of the NHS. Guess what? 2 years later, top-down reorganization of the NHS, the Lansley reforms, the 2012 Health and Social Care Act, which absolutely buggered up our NHS, made it structurally unworkable to the point whereby health professionals are now saying that one of the problems whereby our country's coronavirus response has been so disjointed is because of those 2012 Lansley reforms. And that has cost lives because they went and broke that manifesto promise, and now they're busy breaking another one. Now, with these angry rants, I like to calm down at the end and actually talk about what you can do productively. Firstly, National Farmers Union have a petition on this, which is clocked past about 250,000 signatures now. Go to the NFU website, sign that petition, support them. It's all about buying British food, supporting British standards. These are actually British European standards that we built together in order to be different from the US and actually take care of our animals better, take care of our own quality of food better, okay? Go and sign that petition and then write to your MPs. That's the other action. Lots of you know how to do that now, right? Get back and you write to your MPs and you point out the barefaced lie of Liz Truss, and you take that screenshot of that. You can send them this video if you like. Be my guest. If you're a Tory MP watching this now, hello, we're going to keep going on this. So you give them that information. You take that shot from the Mail on Sunday tomorrow. You show them the complete and utter hypocrisy, which is why we do not trust them and why we are saying no absolutely to any trade deal with the US, because it is all stitched up to be corrupt and will barely put a penny in any of our bank accounts over the next 10 years, okay? It's the only use of it is a mechanism to politically align with Donald Trump and undermine our standards. So those are the two things that you need to go and do now. Sign that petition, get on board with that petition, and then go and write to your MPs and give them all the information that I've just given you now, but with all the evidence, because it's all there. And if you want that video of Michael Gove, we've just put it up on the Scientists for EU Facebook. But if you're watching this on another channel, because I've got this also on YouTube and Twitter, I'll try and find some way of getting that onto other channels, because it's so sanctimonious, right? And it's just comically ridiculous now. All right. Ciao, everyone. Catch you soon.